So I watched this movie. My gosh, it's called Secret Society. Mm-hmm. It's on Amazon, so I think it's like Amazon Prime or Demand or something. So people were telling me it's a book, and I didn't know what this movie.
I know the lady who Misha who wrote it, but I haven't read the book or watched the movie. But everybody says it's a really good movie.
It was like I was like, okay, that's the dialogue. Like I wasn't ready for it because I watch Pose, right? With there were transgender women in there, but this is more. First of all, the clothes in this is fucking amazing.
The only thing that they said the only backlash I heard was that it was actually no trans people.
So that's what I'm getting to. That's what gets interesting about it is it's about two trans women who like one kind of knew she wanted to be trans early on, and another one like they were friends early on, and then eventually one is kind of already living in her truth knows. The other one was kind of figuring it out. Vivica Fox plays at the time his mom, and he makes the transition. And he goes home and he tells Vivica, and she's like, you know what? Nope, I'm not for it. You know how like the community, like, you know how it is growing up in upbringings. She's like, I'm not for it. So eventually he makes his transition to her. And it's about their dating life, certain things. And they're like dating athletes, like boxers and all this other different stuff and how they maneuver with dating. And I don't want to give away the whole movie, but it was just interesting to see that perspective. Trey Chaney is in it. He plays one of the guys, which is one doesn't know it all. Another one kind of knows, and he's like, don't ever speak to me again. Trey Chaney, he knows, and he's like, listen, but she never tells him, but he kind of knows and he's okay with it. So you see the diverse behavior and the like how they all are about the situation, which is interesting. But then you're right, there are no trans people in it.
That was the only backlash that I saw.
But I saw an interview she gave, and she was just like, people asked her like, why didn't you have trans people in this movie? And she was like, well, I didn't want you to like go into it knowing what it was about. And I was like, that's not necessarily true.
No, because I know some trans women I know
some bad bitches.
There's some bad bitches. You wouldn't know
but
until
maybe they didn't audition. So that's what I was thinking.
Because I know some that fucking that's like you wouldn't know. It was no way for you to know unless they told you. Like there's not one way to know. Like,
but then I was thinking maybe she was referring to like some of the trans popular women we know who are actors, and it's like if they do it. But I think that probably called for a role or just new women or like new women who probably aren't giving them a chance to come into this spotlight. That was the only thing I didn't understand. I was like, I'm watching a movie about trans women and how they date and how they navigate. Nah, that movie is amazing. The fits in that movie, the clothes alone. I don't even want to be materialistic, but those women look so good.
They do.
It looks so good. Where I was kind of sad how it ended, but I was like, oh my gosh.
Shout out to all the trans women.
Yeah. Shout out to all the ladies.
They be killing it.
To a point, I'm like, put me on to some
They know how to dress so fucking good. Oh my God.
Because I was trying to figure out one of the ladies I'm familiar with, and I was like, wait, are they trans or are they not trans? Because I wasn't sure. I was like, because their pieces is hitting, everything looks together. But I liked it because it's a dialogue and a conversation we need to have, and you get to see how other people date. And like what helped me with like Pose is it broke a lot of stigmas and stereotypes on what you thought like, during the 80s, 90s with the AIDS epidemic. Ballroom, so everything else.
I didn't see like Pose from season 1 till whenever it ended. I just watched recently like one episode, and it's when one of the guys found out that he had HIV, and he got it from like his boyfriend. His boyfriend cheated, and it was like in an apartment, and he was like
with another dancer,
and I was like, fuck.
But
it was deep. I was like, I was like crying for him, like damn.
But I love the show so much because I don't feel like growing up when it comes to like AIDS, gay people, just like the LGBTQIA plus community, no one really educated you. And I kind of feel weird being in a space like if I see someone now, can you educate me and give me the history? And it's not like, we have a history book now, we have kind of like Google, but this show helps me navigate and get a better understanding of just ballroom culture and just how they live, how they become a family, like when the people put them out, what they mean by mother, and like the slang and everything else, which I thought was just, this is the last season, which I'm super excited about. And I just think it was a phenomenal start to a phenomenal ending. But yeah, you got to get into that, and you got to see Secret Society.
I'm gonna watch Secret Society.
It's good TV to a fact. I am big on it because I want them to I was like, I'm gonna support these type of shows and films so they continuously make more. Because now it's great that we have diverse television because we live so many diverse lives.
I agree.